dreaming. I woke him up. He was snoring and dreaming. Alright guys. I want to show you guys how to tune the saw. And before I can do that, and my phone has got cracks all over it where I dropped it. Before I do that, I want to talk to you guys about, let me get this set up for a second, and then I can sit here and chit chat. Boom, well that was quick. Okay. I'd like to show you how to tune the saw, but there's a lot to it. So the first thing I want to talk to you about, and it deals with the life of the saw and everything, is your fuel. Excuse me. Is your fuel. Not just your fuel ratio, but your fuel quality. So let's talk about octane ratings. Everybody's heard it. Everybody stopped at the pump and bought 86, 89, 93, whatever. Every manufacturer recommends a certain octane, and that's due to the design of the engine, which it may be Chinese to a lot of people. I know a lot of people don't understand octane and what that means. And if you look at the numbers, it's kind of backwards. It's opposite. Whenever you think fuel, you think of how flammable it is, not by how flammable it's not. And 80, you say you got 86, is very combustible. It's very volatile. It evaporates fast. It turns into fumes fast. It's very volatile compared to 93, and that's why they give them an octane rating. And what an octane rating is this: it's not the measurement of the knock in the engine. It's the fuel's rating by how much knock it has in the engine. You know what I'm talking about? Like, let's say my tree service has a rating. It's out of 5. I think I got like a 4.7, 4.6 rating out of 20 views, out of 20 reviews. Sorry about that. Had some bacon in my tooth. Anyway, back to knock. It's a rating on the amount of knock that fuel creates in the engine. Well, everybody says, "And what you talking about knock? Why do they knock?" Well, this is why the engine knocks. You got a very volatile fuel that is very flammable, and you have an engine. Listen, it's a pretty deep subject, but it's going to help you understand fuel. And it's really important that you understand fuel, especially if you want to get into performance part of chainsaw, or even if you want to get into optimizing your chainsaw's capabilities. Not every engine needs really high octane fuel. A lot of engines require a low octane fuel because of the compression ratio. So, and saying that, I don't want to try to, I don't want to confuse nobody. So we're talking about octane rating, and we're talking about the knock and why the engine knocks. And the engine knocks because of the pre-ignition. That's whenever you hear somebody talking about the timing of the engine, they're talking about when that engine's firing. And the relationship for that fire to the position of the piston as it's coming up. Like in a really, really high RPM, you want to advance that time. You want that thing to spark as it's coming up. You know what I'm talking about? If you ever drove a vehicle and you've got a trailer behind it and it starts rattling a little bit and knocking, that's where the timing needs to be retarded on that engine to optimize the performance. It'll start knocking and it'll kind of clear up. That's where the computer's kind of retarding the time on that because it's a lower RPM. It's working under a lower RPM. It's loaded under lower RPM, so it needs that spark to come later on as that piston's coming up. So anyway, it's knocking because it's exploding, but due to the heat and compression instead of the spark. You know what I'm saying? So whenever that spark hits, it's already done exploded, so it's creating a knock in the engine because it's getting two explosions, bang, bang, bang. And then I can go into a very deep subject. So, but we're just talking about knock and why the engine knocks. So instead of exploding with a spark, it's exploding because of the pressure, which pressure is heat. The heat of that compression is going to fire before it's supposed to, which creates the knock. So every fuel has a knock rating depending on the design. Like I said, whenever you have a salt, whenever steel, Husqvarna, whenever they recommend you to run 89 or 93 or 86, they do that based on the design of the engine, whether it's a high compression, low compression, whatever. You know, they've put $1 million into the design of something and tested it thousands of times before they released it. So that's very necessary to know to optimize your performance. So if you're wanting to increase the RPMs in your engine, you need to know what kind of fuel quality you have, and what's required. Because whenever you up the RPMs of your engine, what are you doing to that engine? What are you doing to that engine to get it to create more RPMs? That's the question. But a lot of people don't know. They just turn the screw and they don't know what they're doing. Are they adding more fuel to that engine? Are they taking fuel away? Or what are they doing whenever they making it go from 10,000 RPMs to 14,000 RPMs? Well, this is what you're doing. This is what you're doing. You're adding more air. You're taking fuel away, adding more air, which is creating more heat. And heat is power in an engine. That's in the manufacturers, that they're keeping you in a safe zone between too much fuel and too lean. So whenever you start leaning them out, you can go too lean and destroy the engine. You know, that's what I'm talking about, tuning. So it's kind of tweak with it. Don't go extravagant or overboard, because that's what you're doing. If you didn't know, whenever you're turning the RPMs up on that engine by just turning that screw, you're not adding fuel, you're adding air. And with more air creates more heat because it's lean. And any kind of race engine, the leaner you can get that, the leaner your combustion is, the more heat you have. And heat is what drives that piston down. The heat, boom, is what drives that piston down. So lean equals power, but lean can also equal disaster. It really does, because metal expands at different temperatures. That's why I'm saying everything's designed a certain way. So forged pistons are a lot stronger than, you know what I'm talking about? I don't want to go too deep into it. So let's know what our saw is designed for, and then let's kind of try to, if you're going to try to get more RPMs, you may want to go to a more controllable fuel, because you're going to lean it out. So you know what I'm saying? So if your engine is designed for 89, you may want to go to 93 if you're going to, if that engine's broke in, if you want to try to turn more RPMs. But there's a fine line there. So do whatever you want to do at your discretion. I tune my saws according to my situation. Performance saws are just that. They're made for one cut, not cut after cut after cut after cut after cut after cut after cut. That's why they have a working saw build and they have, hot saw builds. So hopefully you got this fuel thing in your mind. Try to wrap yourself around it, because it's going to help you in everything in life besides just chainsaws. Not everything in life, but it may if you mow your yard, you're using a combustion engine. If you drive a car, you're using a combustion engine. Fuel quality really is the life of an engine, even a diesel. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully this video on fuel and octane kind of helps somebody take my words as a picture and try to picture everything that's going on as I'm talking. And hopefully you guys can wrap your mind around this, because it's really great, good information for somebody that doesn't know. And I'll just do another video on how I want my saw to cut in wood and why.